Welcome, everyone. I'm delighted to be here and excited to be here to share on growing your leadership agility with positive intelligence. I'm Moubray and I will be sharing growing your leadership agility with positive intelligence this evening. Excited that you're here. Delighted to be here. Welcome.
And we're delighted to have you because you are wonderful. I think everybody should come off mute for just a minute and give her a little bit of applause, or give her a little.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the warm welcome, and I warmly welcome you as well. Grateful to be here. Yeah. So first I want to, as we welcome and as you arrive into the space, to just take a moment to arrive. I know that we're settling in, just to take that moment to settle in. Drop into your body and just notice what emotion that's present for you right now. And if you so choose, you can drop that into the chat. Someone else has arrived. Welcome. I hear a ding dong.
Hello, Moubray.
Hello. Hi, Steve. Another Steve. More Steves.
Steve from Dallas. I started joining these meetups during the pandemic, and Steve did a great job from DC. So I say every time I have an opportunity, I'll join them. Just with we're being busy and running calls all the way up to the 11th hour, I say, let me join here so I can at least capture some goodness from you guys. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome.
Awesome to see you. So good to see you again, man.
Plus, you have a great name too. So.
Awesome. All right. So now, as you arrive with whatever you've arrived with, what we're going to start with now is you arrive with whatever emotion is present. Just what we're going to do is a centering practice. And why we center to be open, present, connected, and on purpose. And for this centering practice, we're going to lengthen in 4 dimensions. We're not one-dimensional people, right? So to lengthen in your vertical, your width, your depth, and connected with purpose. And purpose is what matters most to you. So wherever you are, you could be seated, you could be standing. Just feel the ground beneath your feet. You're upright, the shoulders are slightly open, so your chest is open. And imagine there's a string above your head. And someone is pulling that string upright so that you are lengthening in your vertical. So your disc and your spine is just one on top of each other. And as you lengthen into your vertical, you're connected with your dignity. Your dignity is inherent to you. No one has to give you dignity. And as we continue to lengthen in your vertical, you're going to lengthen your body. If you wish, you could place arms outstretched beside you, like you're going to embrace myself and all the beautiful people on this call. And as you lengthen across the width of your body, your shoulders, your shoulder girdle, your hips, your thighs, your calf, your feet, you're connected with your sense of belonging. You're connected in relationship with myself and all the beautiful, amazing, awesome people in this call, in this time, in this space, in this moment. And as you continue to lengthen in your vertical and in your width, you're going to lengthen into your depth. And for that, you can place your hand on your core. Your core, your center is just below where your belly button is. So a thumb into your belly button and palm facing downward where your core is. And the other hand is in the small of your back. And as you lengthen into your depth, you're connected with your sufficiency. I am enough. And as you continue to lengthen in your vertical, your width, and your depth, feel the clothes on your back. Feel your hand on your belly, the belly on your hand. And you're connected with who is at your back and who's got your back. Your teachers, your ancestors, your lineage, mentors, coaches, loved ones. Everyone who's at your back and got your back and brought you to this moment in time. And as you continue to lengthen in your vertical, in your width and your depth, you're going to connect with your purpose. And your purpose is what matters most to you. And you could say that to yourself silently. And just take a moment to express gratitude. Gratitude for the earth that your feet is on. You might reach up and express gratitude to the stars, the sun, the earth, the moon, whatever you want to express gratitude for in this moment. When you're ready to return to this space. Thank you for arriving and centering. All right. So for this evening, what we will be sharing is on growing your leadership agility with positive intelligence. To give you a sense of what's coming next, our learning outcomes is for you to experience your saboteurs. And saboteurs might be a language new for you, so we'll cover language and framing of that subsequently, right? But to get started, the learning outcomes is that inner critic, the voices in your head or saboteurs, you learn about them and have an awareness and experience of them, and how you can shift faster to your sage, which is your true essence or your true self. So that's what we're up to as a learning outcome. And then the other is that you start to develop your mental fitness muscle, and so that you can rewire your brain, yourself, so that you are able to show up more positively in the world, right? To be in service of yourself and in service of others is the second learning outcome. And to achieve that, what we're going to do is we're going to co-create a design alliance together to get started, to create a safe container for us to learn together in our time together, to co-create that safe generative environment, and have the co-responsibility for upholding our agreement around that. And then from there, I'll share the language and framing around positive intelligence, because some of these language and framing for many of us, because many of us may not have come across this body of work before. So I'll share some context around just that framing and why it's important to yourself, right? And then from there, we'll then have the experience of positive intelligence, what a positive intelligence repetition is, shifting you and what that experience is like. And then from that, I'm gonna invite a brave, courageous person here who might want to experience, might have a challenge and have a coaching demo. And for that portion, we can decide to not record that portion, just given the nature of coaching, just for that portion of it. The rest of it, the content, and I have one or two slides I will bring up. You're welcome to share the content forward, as long as you recognize positive intelligence and the credits for it, because it's their body of work, if you will. Yeah. And then from that, we'll conclude with the learning and anchoring the learning for yourself. So that's just to give you a lay of the land of what we're up to this evening. Awesome. All right, so in co-creating our design alliance, it's how we want to be in relationship with each other, right? There's you, there's me, and then there's our connection with each other, that relationship, that conditions. We want to create that amazing container for it. And to have that safe and generative container, I'm going to offer up a few items, and if there are others that you think of as we're going through, feel free to unmute and share it in the space or drop it into the chat. We're co-creating this together. All right. So first off, I'm going to offer up confidentiality. And what this means is that, specific name people that share something, the name people are not associated with whatever, right? Like if you want to share the learning outcomes, don't mention that so-and-so said XYZ, right? Just mention whatever the learning thing that the person expressed. So the learning you can take forward, but you're not taking forward the specificity of whatever is shared, right? So that we feel safe to exchange with each other in the moment here, being very present with each other. All right. The next I'm going to offer up is talking straight. And people are like, what? What do you mean by talking straight? Like, is that like an arrow coming at me? Or, it's nothing like that. Talking straight is simply being direct, clear, and kind. Right? Our message is clear, we're direct in what we're sharing, and we're kind about it. The next I'm going to offer up is listen well. Right? Some of us are coaches here. I see a few people I know from my wonderful cohort. Love the support. Listening well is listening in our level 2, level 3 listening. It's listening with all of ourselves to receive the other, right? Not just listening to the words, listening to the body language, listening to the tonality, listening to, world songs that might be around us, listening to receive in totality is listening well. Yeah. All right. And then I'm going to invite that we be part of a learning lab, that you're going to be experimented upon and to experiment with whatever is present here. Right? So there's no judgment, bring curiosity and invite that curiosity. Yeah. All right. And then the last I'm going to add is that we have some fun. Is there anything else that we need to add into our design alliance that anyone wants to add into the design alliance? All right, then I'm going to ask if we're good at holding it. You can put up your digital hand or drop it into the chat. Just going to scan the chat if the hand's going up. Awesome. See hands going up, digital hands, physical hands.
Thank you, Sherry C, for posting that.
Thank you. Teamwork, love it, teamwork.
Sherry C was kind enough to post the alliance in the chat. So grateful for you.
Thank you. All right. So now that we've created this safe generative container for our learning and our time together, I'm going to share some framing or some language, right? So leadership agility is our ability to respond to challenging, complex situations that we have, right? We live in this world of VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. And to be able to respond, to take wise and effective action amid these rapidly complex situations that we have is what leadership agility is about. And this is the work of, Bill Joyner, who wrote Leadership Agility, as well as others, right? And positive intelligence is a pathway for developing our leadership agility, where we are able to develop that capacity from within ourselves, right? So why does this matter to us? So what I'm going to share one slide. Is what I'm going to do. If I could get the share up. I'm sure this is going to work. You're going to lose sight of me for just like a minute. So why this matters to us? Well, a lot of what goes on for us is internal within us, right? If you think of yourself as a metaphor being the iceberg, right? A lot of what goes on, your thoughts, your belief, your emotions, your consciousness, a lot of it is internal or below the surface, if you will, right? So about 70% of it is below the surface. And yes, about 30% is visible, or actions or behaviors are visible above the surface. Right. And we understand from personal development that our words or thoughts, if you will, determine our outcomes and results, right? How is that the case? Well, our thoughts drives our words and our feelings, and our words and our feelings drives our behaviors and actions, and our behaviors and actions determine our outcomes and results. So if there are things that you're not getting on a day-to-day basis, right? Like perhaps you aren't having great relationships, maybe with family members or coworkers, right? It goes back to what thoughts one is having, right? Or if you're not achieving something, right? It goes back to what thoughts one is having, right? On
Anne-Marie,
average, yes.
Anne-Marie, can you check your screen? It looks like part of your Zoom window is being displayed.
Part of my Zoom window is displayed. You're not seeing the slide, or?
I see the slide, but I also see my face covering up part of the slide.
Oh,
Do you guys
okay.
do you guys see that?
Yes.
So
Okay. No, I'm still
There we
there.
go. Now just click on the
coming
minus sign.
back to sharing
Or maybe it's just going to be
the
there.
minus.
Yeah.
Did you disappear?
Oh.
Where did you're still in the corner? I don't know how to remove you.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, on average, the average person has anywhere from 6,000 to over 50,000 thoughts per day. It's not how many thoughts we have. We have many thoughts. Some of them are 80,000. It doesn't matter how many thoughts. What matters is that on average, most of those thoughts, about 70% of those thoughts, are negative, right? The default wiring in our brain. So this is work based on neuroscience, like positive psychology, cognitive psychology, and performance science, but primarily neuroscience, that our brain is hardwired negatively, right? So most of our thoughts are negative, and anywhere between 90 to 95% of those thoughts are recurring. So we have this recurring loop of negative thoughts. And we can reshape that. It doesn't have to remain that way. And this is what this experience that you're going to have this evening will share with you, a practice that you can take forward to practice and reshape your brain, right? So that the default wiring is rewired, if you will. So this is what positive intelligence gives us. This is how you're able to grow your leadership agility, right? And to introduce you to the cast of characters, before we do that, so essentially this mental fitness is rewiring your brain for love so that you're able to respond to life's challenges with a positive mindset rather than a negative mindset, right? So that's what essentially the mental fitness is about and what positive intelligence is. And it manifests itself in three ways that, you know, the meaningful difference it can make for you is around your well-being, right? So you have better relationships with yourself, you care for yourself and others, right? So you have healthier relationships, you have better performance, so you're increasing performance, if you will, have better performance. And you have that peace of mind, right? Your wellness, right? So peak performance, well-being, healthy relationships, and peace of mind is where the benefits of this body of work. And to introduce you to the cast of characters, if you will, we all have these inner critics in our heads, if you will, right? And these inner critics, I'm going to just stop sharing now and just be able to come back on screen. Yeah, so we have these 10 cast of characters, the 10 saboteurs that we all have, right? And the judge is the main character that we all experience. It's not the true part of you. Have you ever heard yourself say, "What's wrong with you? Who do you think you are?" Right? That voice in your head that says that, or "I'm not good enough." That voice is your judge, judging yourself. And we are our own worst critic, right? We tend to judge ourselves more harshly than we would judge a friend or a family member or a loved one, right? So there's three modes in which we judge. We judge ourselves, we judge others, and we judge the situation or the context, the environment, if you will, right? So that's the judge saboteur. Then we have 9 accomplice saboteurs, right? The first being the avoider. The avoider wants peace and harmony, right? The avoider tends to procrastinate. Oh, I don't want to do that unpleasant thing. I don't want to have that unpleasant conversation. I don't want to do that unpleasant task, right? Maybe I don't like to do my bookkeeping, right? Maybe I don't want to have that difficult conversation. I'm putting off things and that don't make it get any better, right? So that's the notion of the avoider saboteur. It's not the true you, but it's a character that you take on and you put off stuff or having those conversations. That's the avoider. Then there's the controller. The controller thinks, if I could control life, you know, then everything would be fine. Like myself, my family, right, would be fine. So I try to control everything around me, is the notion of the controller. And there's an element of the controller in all of us, because we are part and parcel of a greater universal source, who is the ultimate controller for those of us that believe that there is something larger than ourselves. And then there is the hyper achiever, right? Where you take achievement to the extreme. For example, if you have a number of letters behind your name, you have a PhD and a master's, and you're looking for the next, certification, and it's not about letters, it's about that notion of achievement. It could be you already have a promotion and you're looking for the next promotion, that you're striving for the next achievement, and you don't take that time to celebrate your current achievement before moving forward for your next achievement. It's just like running after the next achievement, right? Whether it's certifications and degrees and promotions, etc. Right? So that's the hyperachiever. It's when you take that achievement to the extreme. Then there's the hyper-rational. The hyper-rational is one where, we're very analytical. We have to make decisions, or we try to make our decisions all on data. I don't have enough data, I need more data. Very rational. It's like embodying the character of Data and R2-D2 from Star Wars and Star Trek, if you're familiar with those movies, right? Having to always have data in front of you, right? And embodying that, right? When you're hyper-rational, what happens is you tend to suppress your emotions, right? You tend to numb your emotions and not display your emotions, almost like you don't own any emotions, essentially, right? And you can also be very arrogant, like, look how smart I am, being very self-righteous about being smart, right? So that's the hyper-rational. You've taken it to the extreme. So that's the hyper-rational saboteur. The next is hypervigilant. The hypervigilant is always on alert about not being safe. So always checking, for example, we're in COVID times and I might not go out, even though I've been vaccinated and I have 3 vaccines, I would still not go out and afraid that I would get COVID, right? I want to be safe, right? Or maybe I'll lock all my doors and my windows so that no burglars can get in, and I'm checking the doors twice in the windows, right? I'm just vigilant all the time that, am I safe, right? Safe and secure, right? So safety is important, and always checking that. They're very vigilant all the time around safety. That's the hyper. Then we have the pleaser. Some of us may be familiar with the pleaser. The pleaser is looking for validation from others. So if you have an element of perfection, I got to make this thing perfect. I have to make some more changes here to make this just right, this perfect, so that, these wonderful people here would like me, would like what I'm offering. There's an element of pleaser present, right? That's the saboteur is a pleaser. Then we have what is called the restless, and some of play with the restless. And again, the restless is universal in all of us, right? The restless has to do with that we're always looking at the next shiny object, right? I'm learning this, I'm reading this book, but then I open up a blog and I look for something else. The metaphor is like your Windows computer. You have tabs open on the computer and you just open another one in your mind, right? You're looking at something else, you're chasing something else, right? A lot of distractions is what the restless has, right? So that's the restless saboteur, always chasing this next shiny object. Then we have the stickler. The stickler is one who nitpicks on every single small thing. If a dropper here falls on the ground, I gotta sweep it up. I gotta, things have its place and they gotta go back in their place. I have books and they gotta go back in the bookshelf, right? I have to have a clean surface. If I put my coffee cup down on the coffee table, I gotta go wipe it up because I can't have a coffee stain on the coffee table. Gotta make sure I have a coaster, I can't get that wet stain. Very pedantic about specific nitpicking on little things, right? Is the stickler saboteur. And the last is the victim. The victim takes no ownership, has no agency, just says, look at me, poor me, why me, right? Let's plays on other people's sympathies is the notion of the victim, right? So these cast of characters, they're not just one. Sometimes we have multiple in our heads, right? Sometimes it's the avoider, the judge, the cast of characters, and sometimes they talk with each other and they multiply and the volume gets louder, right? So what do we do when we have these cast of characters, the committee in our head? right? The negative community championing each other and rallying them on together. What can we do, right? So this is where the practice comes in, this positive intelligence practice. And this is where I'm going to invite you into practice, right? Invite you into practice. So what we're going to do now, now that you have some language, right, around the saboteurs and you're somewhat acquainted with them, right? There's the judge, the avoider, the controller, the hyper achiever, the hyper rational, the hyper vigilant, the pleaser, the restless, the stickler, and the victim. Now that you have become acquainted with them somewhat, we're going to experience them. So what I'm inviting you to do in this activity is just recall a challenge you've had most recently, right? Maybe it's a conversation with a friend or a colleague, or maybe you had a deadline that was coming up for you, something that caused you stress or anxiety, or maybe you were upset by something someone said to you, right? That maybe you were angry or frustrated, just some challenging emotion that you had. And chances are that emotion was negative, right? So just lean into that emotion, revisit, visualizing whatever happened, whoever you were with, what you said to that person, connect into the emotion, just visualize it for a moment. And then as you experience that emotion, just turn up the dial a bit more on the intensity of feeling and experiencing that negative emotion, the frustration, the anger, the upset. The words that was expressed, where you might be feeling that in the body. There might be tightness. There might be a weight somewhere in the body. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do a positive intelligence repetition now. So with the positive intelligence repetition, what I invite you to do is your tips of your fingertips, your index finger and your thumb, to put them together. And you're going to rub the ridges of your fingertips together. Just feel the ridges of your fingertips. If your mind wanders, just focus on rubbing the ridges of your fingertips. Or you might listen to a faraway song. Listen to the furthest song that you can hear. And listen to a near song. It might be your breath. Just notice the rise and fall in your chest as you're breathing in and breathing out. And you might notice the contact that your body is making on the seat if you're seated. And you might feel your toes on the floor. Just feel each of your beautiful toes, wiggle each of your beautiful toes. And now I invite you, that's the positive intelligence repetition practice. Now I invite you to revisit the experience you had from earlier, where perhaps you had that negative emotion, whatever it was, the situation that you had in mind. Just revisit that. All right, so now we would debrief. What was that experience like? You can drop it into the chat, or you can come off mute and speak it in the space. I'm curious what that was like. What did you notice? Thank you, Sherry.
For me, it felt like a little bit like a mini meditation, like a focus on just one thing. And it helped me to redirect whatever I was thinking before to this thing that I was doing.
Yeah, they are mini meditations. Yes. And the value in this is if you think of yourself another metaphor, for example, right? Early in the day, when you start your day, you're fully charged. Imagine yourself as a battery. You're fully charged. And during the day, you drain that battery, right? You're in back-to-back meetings, you have deadlines, right? The challenges that you're experiencing, maybe you have family to take care of, right? You're running after from one thing to the next, and it drains your battery. So if you take a moment throughout the day to recharge your battery in these mini meditations, right? You then have so much more capacity from within to navigate the challenges that you're responding to. So you do respond differently to the challenges. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else, what you noticed in that experience for you? You had that negative emotion at first, then you had the positive intelligence. What was the experience like after? Anything else that you noticed?
I started to picture the negative emotion just kind of floating away.
Absolutely. Yes.
Kind of visualized it. I don't really know what it looked like, but I could see it. And it just floated away. So it was gone.
Yeah, you had a different perspective with it after. It floated away.
And I like these little resets midday, because we start our day with great intentions. And we may start our little morning routine, right? I walk my dogs, I may meditate, I may do a little stretching, may do a little yoga, have breakfast, and then we jump into the day and everything just goes crazy, right?
Mm.
So having a little chance to reset it's something I talk about and I never do. So or I don't do as often as I should be yet.
So one way of doing that is, setting aside time in your day. This is where I have this notion that, Microsoft perhaps adapting its software instead of having 60 and 30-minute meetings, right, to adapt it to be 50 and 20, if you will, so that, we as humans have, 10 minutes in between meetings, right, that you can run to the bathroom, take care of yourself, and have a break for, PQ reps. All it takes is 2 minutes is all it requires, right? It's not very long, right? To drop into the physicality of the body. It's a beauty in this work.
I needed to do that today.
Randy, do you think this is something you could do?
I'm going to apply this to a story of today. I had a meeting scheduled half an hour and everything was perfect. 6-minute meeting. The only problem why I couldn't do this was because I had another meeting scheduled at the same time and had to join the second one. But I'm still happy. I still, the fact that I could attend 2 meetings in 30 minutes. But I had to do this earlier because of ServiceNow. ServiceNow content management. I think it's about a 9-minute version of this to make me happy again. Random content disappearing.
Serenity now.
That's right.
Yeah, we have a lot of great comments in the chat as well. Meditation and refocus, anchoring. Thank you, Sherry C. again. Reset. And trying to rub the ridges distracted me from feeling the original feelings from the imagined scenario in a good way.
Yay, bridges of our fingertips.
Yeah, grounding, renewal, and everybody's frustrated with service now, it seems. So it's not just you, Randy.
And laughter could be the next one, right? Like just being able to laugh releases so much when we can laugh. That is another physical element of ourselves, like movement, right? All ways that we connect back into the physicality of the body. Yeah, all mini meditations. Beautiful. All right. So now I'll invite a brave, courageous volunteer, if you will. And for this part, we could stop the recording if we so choose, because this is a bit of a coaching demo for anyone that has a particular challenging scenario or experience that you have on. We'll honor confidentiality. I mean, yes, you have a group of observers, but you can just imagine it's the two of us in conversation. There's any brave souls out there, brave, courageous people.
This is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, and I will be happy to stop the recording, Sam.
This is where you get to experience it more and practice it more. With a real life.
Sam's still in his car.
I actually had to pop into a store, so I'm really not brave enough to do this in the middle of a store. I need this bad, but I'm not brave enough.
We'll come back to that later then, Sam. Jason, I noticed you came off you put your camera on. Doesn't necessarily mean you.
Where is Jason?
Anyone, this is a wonderful opportunity to have a quick coaching session with an amazing, amazing human being.
Don't be shy. We have a safe generative container here.
Karen, Randy, I've never known you guys to shy away from something like this.
Okay, so what am I volunteering for?
A quick coaching session.
Okay, well, I'm a big meditator, so I'll jump in.
Okay, all
All
right.
right. Would you like me to stop the recording, Karen? It can get rather personal.
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
Keep it rolling.
All right. Here we go.
Would you like to join on camera or are you doing, Karen? It's up to you.
Okay, I don't
I will
know.
turn off my camera.
All right, I'm just gonna pin
I'm
you.
like seriously ready for prime time here. Okay,
All right. Hi, Karen. It's a delight to-
hi,
Thank you for being courageous and for kindly volunteering to be part of
Sure,
this.
Anne-Marie.
Yeah. And where are you, Karen?
Pardon me?
Based? Are you out? Like I see a beautiful scenery. Where are you based?
Not anywhere near the background. I'm in Lutherville, Timonium, Maryland, which last time I looked does not have any sparkling blue water in the
Ah.
area.
So you're out in DC, but not Maryland. This is Maryland.
I'm in Maryland.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm in Waterloo, Ontario, Canada.
You're where?
Waterloo, Ontario, Canada.
Oh, okay. Canada. Okay.
Beautiful. All right. So it's a delight to meet you, Karen. Thank you for being courageous and stepping forward for this coaching demo. Would like to share as part of the Design Alliance again to remind us to remind you that this is confidential, right? Like I'm not going to share this anywhere else, right? Yes, you have a few observers, but it's just imagine that it's just you and I put you pinned so that I can just concentrate and just be with you through the whole experience. So you have my full attention and my full utmost confidentiality.
Okay.
Is there anything else you need, Karen?
I want to put my phone on do not disturb. How about that?
Yes,
Let me just do
so that you can be fully present. Love it.
that. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. Is there anything else you need in this moment, Karen?
Well, if my landline rings, then I'll just have to deal. I'll take it off. So I'm good.
Great. Thank you. Awesome. And yes, I'm in a quiet space. There's no distractions. The neighbor's dog may bark occasionally. We'll live with world news as it happens. We'll adapt. Yeah. All right. So imagine, Karen, you have a challenge that's happening in your world. What is that challenge that you want to be coached on?
Just being present and not being taken away by the moment that's, totally evolving. And, just staying present and being mindful. You can just have things just whirl out of control, right, in your mind with all those thoughts. So yeah, that would be it.
So your coaching challenges around the topic that you have is that things can, with the mind, like lots of things happening. So it's almost like restless and things can run away. Is it the restless that you sense? What are you sensing?
No, not restlessness, but getting off point. Like at the beginning of this meeting, I kept getting calls, and then that kind of takes you off your energy. So, just to kind of stay in that zone and not be pulled out of it. Like, Steve said, right? He does his meditation and then the day starts, right? And it just, flips you all over the place. And, just staying steady and flexible.
So I'm hearing that there's a lot of interruptions and things that come up, if you will, like one thing to the next. And that you want, what I'm hearing you express is you're wanting to remain more fluid and flexible.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are you sensing in your body right now, Karen?
A little good old tightness in the chest.
Yeah. And as you feel that tightness in your chest, what is that tightness like, Karen?
What is it like? It's just like your body is overreacting.
Your body's overreacting. Yeah. And what are you wanting, Karen, to have at the end of our time together?
Just to recalibrate and then, have a better access to that during the day.
Okay. To be able to recalibrate and have better access. Okay. So as you feel that tightness in your chest, Karen, and just feeling that tightness, is there like a feeling that comes to mind with that tightness?
Like pressure just to get things done.
Hmm. The pressure. It's almost like a weight. It's like I can feel like the weight on my back. What are you feeling, Karen?
It's a weight on my chest. It's kind of
Weight.
a pressure of like all these things that have to be done.
Yeah, the pressure of all these things. And then as you feel that feeling of that pressure of all these things that need to be done, is there a story that's connected with that? What's the story?
Just why am I being triggered again?
Why am I being triggered again? Yeah.
So I'm like a meditator like for 10 years. And I was in a session with another group, and all these lifelong meditators, they were sharing just like how they've been triggered that week, that week.
Mhm.
So it's like, we just have to constantly calibrate ourselves, or it's just amazing.
All right. All right. So Karen, I'm going to invite you to the practice of a positive intelligence repetition. So it looks like you're seated, I'm going to invite you to stand, if you may.
Okay.
Ground yourself into your body, like you can feel the ground beneath you. To drop into your body, you can open up your shoulders so your chest is open. If it helps, you could gently close your eyes. I'm right here with you. And you can rub the ridges of your fingertips. Just feel the ridges of your fingertips. And just listen to that faraway sound, the furthest sound that you can hear. And listen to a near sound. It might be your breath or your breathing. Just notice the rise and fall in your chest as you're breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Just slowing it down. And if your mind wanders, just bring it back to your breath. And when you're ready, Karen, what's present now for you?
I feel that my energy has kind of unwound and is flowing better throughout my body.
Yeah. So I sense that you're calmer. That's what you're saying. And with this calmer energy, what do you see now, Karen? When you look at your day, what are you seeing?
I'll get it done. I will get whatever I get done, I'll get it done.
Yeah. I'm sensing a different perspective already. What are you sensing?
Yeah, I mean, that stress is markedly dissipated.
Yeah. And as you connect into this calmer energy and a sense of having a different perspective, and that it's dissipated, all the different things that were going on earlier, you said, like moving from one thing to the next, that's dissipated now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm much more chill.
Yeah, much more chilled. And I could see that bright smile on your face. There's more joy from within is what I see. Yeah. What do you see, Karen?
Yeah, I see that. And I also see that radiating from you also. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's good. Not exactly a mirror image of you, but I'm getting close.
Awesome. Yeah,
I'm still doing my fingers.
that's right. Still rubbing your ridges of your fingertips. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And as you connect into this energy, Karen, what's the insight that's coming to you here?
You know that we always have it accessible to us. We just have to take that moment, you know, to stop dissipating our energy and to, you know, re-energize ourselves.
Stop dissipating the energy. There's a lot of wisdom there. Yeah. So with that, Karen, what would you like to take forward from this experience here together?
Another important reminder that, you know, this happens probably to all of us, you know, throughout the day. And, you know, I just, like everyone else, need to take those moments because it's part of our human experience. And we can make it better, but we have to give a little time, mindfulness, and effort to it.
Thank you, Karen. I see how much you care for yourself in taking those moments, recognizing that, yes, you have to get things done and taking time to care for yourself in those brief moments of connecting back to yourself, that you are getting it done. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, I can sit now.
That's it now. Awesome. And we can put back on the recording and we will debrief while Karen, you know, processes whatever she wants to process from this experience. Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome.
So the observers, what did you notice? You can share it. You can come off mute and just share what you notice in the experience with Karen. What was that like? What was Karen before and Karen after, Karen during?
Did you guys see the stress kind of stop? Did you see when the transformation started? She started to smile a little bit more.
Yeah. Smile a bit more. Thank you, Sherry. What was the experience like? We saw Karen smiling more at the end. After being stressed in the beginning, and like there's too many things going on, pressure to get it done, feeling that tightness in the chest. Right? It's like the ServiceNow people of earlier.
And I just also want to just appreciate just realizing how much courage it takes to volunteer and then actually share a personal example to be coached through. And I appreciated how deeply reflective, Karen, you were as you were going through this together with you. It was just really nice to see that effort and makes me realize that, you know, it's something that you have to be really intentional about. So that was a really good reminder, and I appreciated seeing that in the process too. Thank you.
Thank you for the feedback.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Irma. Yes.
To second that, thank you, Irma, and to second that, Karen, you are very brave and wonderful. So for those of you that don't know, Karen has been a longtime member of our community here, and we're grateful for her all the time.
Beautiful. Yeah. For sharing your
Thank you,
vulnerability.
Steve.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, for the benefit of all our learning, right? That, you know, the others were able to observe while you were experiencing whatever you were experiencing in the moment. Very present and vulnerable and courageous. So this is the gift that's available to us at all the time. Just having a moment of intentionality to drop back into our bodies. So in summary, the wiring in our brain can be rewired. We can reshape our brain to have more of a default for love. And this is what I've been working on as a practitioner as well, rewiring my own brain for love and to show up, to have more love in the world, right? To show up with more positivity. And it's not a Pollyanna, right? It's a practice that we are able to have and accessible that grows my own leadership agility. And you have that now to be able to grow your own leadership agility. Right? So we are navigating so much complexity, right? And this gives us the ability to navigate that complexity with more resourcefulness from within us. So the neurons that wire together, fire together, right? And that's what the beauty in this work is. So if you interested, there is a 6-week program that I facilitate, a positive intelligence program, where you have access to the app. There's an app that Positive Intelligence and Shadad Shemaine, who researched this and pioneered this body of work, and now there are thousands of coaches that facilitates this as well, right? You're welcome to experience that. If you share learning nuggets in the chat, I think Steve might pick a random person out of the chat, and welcome to offer this as a complimentary for whoever wants to experience it and the value of it. Yes, you get access to the app. You also get access to, like, there's a weekly video that you watch through the 6 weeks. You learn more about the sage. We actually didn't cover a whole lot about the sage in the session, but you learn about the sage and how you can lead into your sage powers, basically, right? As you shift out of, now you have a practice to shift out of your saboteur much more quickly, but we hadn't covered on the sage. And with that 6-week program, you can experience more of your sage. So if you're interested in that, you can contact me after. Steve will drop my contact information. I put my LinkedIn in earlier, so if you scroll back through, you can find my LinkedIn, and Steve's going to help drop my website and my so transformingleaders.ca is my website, and my contact on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn as well. Right? So with that, I'm thankful for everyone here, and we have a brief survey we'll have as well. Steve, you wanted to add something here?
Yeah, we posted everything. We posted the links in the chat. So please go check them out. The assessments you can take online are absolutely wonderful. And I was negligent in creating the poll. I apologize.
Okay.
But maybe everybody could just post on a scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah.
1 to 5. Or yeah, just give us just a 5. How about that? Give us just a 5. How likely would you be to recommend those? I'm sorry, someone's speaking?
Yeah, just go ahead, Steve. 5, 4, 3 was good.
We have 10 and a 5. 5s, 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 5s. I think it's unanimous 5. So
Awesome.
Is what it seems. And if there is anything that you think Anne-Marie could do to improve this or to make it better, please post in the chat. She is very open to improving. She's a true Agilist at heart and a truly wonderful human being. So I'm just grateful to have her join us here.
Question.
Thanks.
Yes.
Sure.
I was looking for, I couldn't remember at first the name of the classical, the composer, but this experience made me think of, I listen to classical music sometimes, and it made me think of Henryk Górecki. And it's there's a symphony that that Henryk produced, and I remember people raving about it and saying how emotional it was and how amazing it was. And I remember I first started listening to it, and it was very still, and it was very silent, and it kept going still, and it was not much going on. Like, what are people talking about? And then gradually I realized that what the composer was doing was centering everyone and stilling everyone and trying to get them away from all the concerns of the day and the craziness, and just be in a space to where they could appreciate and could hear something that was happening. And then suddenly it just slowly builds, and it just takes you away. And it's the most incredible piece of music. It's Henryk Gorecki Symphony No. 3. But it's like that. It starts so still and silent, and it helps you, and you have to have patience. And a couple of times I almost, didn't go through with it, but it's really rewarding. And it just, I don't know why I somehow thought of that as we were going through this. Very interesting. Yeah. So
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. That's a beautiful gift. And I sensing that it's a gift available to all of us as we center. Right? Like there's a lot of noise that goes on in the world, right?
Yep.
From our own minds and around the world. And as we center and ground into that, right, it's amazing. And that's the value in the work from my own experience, right? And you have it available. Sounds like, from observing Karen and, from what we experienced earlier. Beautiful to see that sympathy, right? As we ground into that. Thank you. Awesome. All right. I'm sensing that we're out of time, but I'm around if there's more questions or you just want to hang out and, network or dance, or I have streamers, whatever you want to do for the next little while. I'm here. I'm all yours for the next little while. If you got to run, that's cool too. But the session is, we'll send the links. I have the slide I could share with Steve after, and you can have that, those slides if you want to reference what we kind of covered as a reminder, and the assessment. It has the links also to the assessment and some resources. So Steve can email that out after, and you have my contact after. So if you got to run, thank you for joining us. It's been awesome being here with you.
So I
And if you wanna
posted
stick around-
everything in here. Oh, questions. Where do we access the recordings? One, I will post the link in the meetup conversations. Two, for years I was posting things on agiledmv.org, but because we have expanded beyond the DC metro area, I've created a new site called agilenews.org, and I will send that out to everybody. We will send an email out to everyone, and it will be there relatively soon to make sure that you can get all the information, get this recording, all of Anne-Marie's information, and we look forward to seeing you again. You were wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I was expecting to have an emotional shift by the end of this session, and I most certainly did. So thank you. Wonderful. And I love these streamers. Oh my. I just absolutely love these. And we have to find them on Amazon so we can share these too, so everybody can get them. And as always, thank you everyone who showed up. I'm so grateful for the community. I know we're starting to get back out into the physical world and see people face to face again. But I got to tell you, for the last 2.5 years, seeing you guys once a month, having you show up here, even on Zoom, has just been absolutely wonderful. It has been a blessing. So I love you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
I think dancing